welcome to another edition of the Traction Reaction Podcast. Joining me, of course, is the Polish Pipebomb, Jeff Orloski. How you doing, sir?
Fantastic, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'll be even better tomorrow, as I will be in Elkhart Lake tomorrow.
Doesn't get any better than that, does it?
Looking forward to that. I did want to talk to you about the SRX, the Superstar Racing Experience, Ray Everham's deal with Tony Stewart. That was on CBS. And I was thinking it was just going to be on like CBS Sports, DirecTV 221. It was actually on the big channel, prime time, and the ratings, not too bad. I mean, I didn't see a lot of promotion for it. Of course, I don't watch that much CBS, to be honest. Yeah, the ratings were actually quite strong. Now, they opened it up at Stafford in Connecticut. It's a short track. Let's be honest, most race fans don't know anything about Stafford.
Right, unless you're on the East Coast.
Right, or in the modified racing, or been around as long as I have and you heard of it. But 1.3 million viewers, and that's roughly just a hair under half of what NASCAR had for their Cup Series. Pretty much what IndyCar had on Sunday for Detroit. And then it was very comfortably ahead of Xfinity Texas, Camping World Series, Camping World Trucks Series in Texas, and IndyCar's Saturday race. So if I'm the suits at CBS and I'm Ray Everham, Tony Stewart, and everybody involved, I'm pretty happy. And he had a pretty much a Hollywood experience, Hollywood ending with Doug Colby winning the event, which is kind of one of the little things that really helps out the series, especially when they come up here to Slinger. They're in Knoxville this week, is having a local driver drive with the superstars. What can he do? How does he measure up? And we certainly saw that on Saturday, didn't we?
Well, of course. And that, that was like the glory days back in NASCAR, where you'd get local guys out at some of the tracks, especially in Xfinity and trucks and stuff, that were able to get their equipment out there and run before Aero became such a big deal and the money pushed everybody out. But as far as the SRX, fantastic. And it was a great start for them on CBS. I loved it. It was quick, prime time. But we got to see how it goes, down the road. The first year back when the original XFL came out, they had phenomenal ratings week one, average ratings week two, and nothing after that. So they've got to keep up the momentum. I think they did a good job on the schedule of having Stafford first and then doing a dirt race right after. And I think that'll open a lot of people's eyes out to, dirt racing in general. But being able to see it, I think the numbers should be high again this week on CBS as well.
They announced that today, Wednesday, the SRX has shortened the length of its two timed heats to 12 minutes each. They were originally, I believe, 15. While the second race is set by inversion of the first heat's finishing order, then for the main feature, each driver's average finish from the heats will determine the starting lineup. And the series also reduced the main feature to 50 laps. Only green flag laps count, and there will be an unlimited attempts for a green-white checkered finish if the caution comes out in the closing laps. So there you have it. I mean, SRX is kind of going along and tweaking it as they need to. You got Camping World as a partner. There's been some criticism of the cars. Lots of variables there and reasoning why you want kind of a simple body, build a certain amount of cars, had the bodies for them, and replace them when they get torn up, which you had a couple cars torn up, not too bad last week, but that's money. And maybe in the future that you can change that. You certainly can. Maybe go, especially with tracks, shorter tracks, that they could maybe do some historical tweaking, or maybe some different cars that way. Maybe do a shout out to IROC and have that old classic Z28, maybe a Porsche body. Who knows what, there's lots of things. I thought that was very cool, though. They did honor Jay Signori, who was the godfather of the old IROC series back in the day. He's still around, and he was able to, with the gentleman, Start Your Engines. And it was kind of neat because a lot of people will forget that's where Ray Everingham got his start, really, at big time auto racing, was working for Jay and keeping those IROC cars together. And I guess I got to ask about your honey, Danica. What did you think of Danica's color commentary?
She was horrible, just absolutely awful. She, you know, hearing Alan Bestwick call a race was a treat
Class
because
guy. He is good.
you know, he's awesome and he's top notch. And then to sit there and, you know, be stuck next to Danica, who called the white flag in the first heat when it wasn't the white flag. She had no idea that Bill Elliott's nickname was Awesome
I
Bill.
was surprised at that one.
You ran in NASCAR for
Right.
how many years and you don't know that Bill Elliott's Awesome Bill?
How does that not come up or any? That blew me away.
Embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. And it shows that she didn't do her homework either, because everybody knows that, whether you like racing or not, everybody knows
Awesome
Bill Elliott.
Dawsonville. Yeah.
Awesome. Yep. Awesome Bill, Dawsonville, man. So that I was not impressed by her, but the production that they had during the race, I thought was top notch. It was almost too good. I like the format. You know, it's like, you know, short track, Friday night, Saturday night racing formats and stuff. I like that. But they went a little overboard, I think, with some of the production on it. It was good and it was very entertaining and I liked it.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see how these cars react in the dirt. It's funny if you monitor Twitter, like when the Truck Series race is on the dirt and that, they're always ripping on them because they're so slow. I was out in Knoxville 2 weeks ago, and they had a practice session out there. They're woefully slow there too, and that's because they're not really designed for it. It's you can only do so much. It'll be interesting to see. Speed is not the main thing. It's the entertainment value. Are these things going to have some type of allure of some type of speed, some competition? That's what you're looking for. And let's face it, you're having some guys out there that never raced on dirt before. Willie T. Ribbs, Paul Tracy, you're gonna have guys out there going to be banging into each other. I mean, so it'll be kind of interesting. Now, hopefully you don't want it to turn into a demolition derby, but it is compelling. It should make for compelling TV watching these guys out there. Is there any drivers that kind of stuck out to you?
No, not really. You know, it was nice seeing the old guys, you know, strap back in again and stuff like that. But, you know, during the inaugural at Stafford, you had a little bit of controversy with Greg Biffle going to the backup camping world car.
Yeah.
Had fresher tires and was able to sit there and just motor past most of the people. How you prevent that from happening and, you know, going to a backup car and gaining an unfair advantage in the future. You know, that's something that eventually they'll need to address. But, you know, I look forward to it on dirt. The slow speeds, you know, that's a tricky situation. We've seen it in NASCAR, you know, at Charlotte. The Cup pole was slower than the Xfinity pole, and I believe it was slower than the ARCA pole as well. You know, it's hard to sit there and slow these guys down. You know, I'd like to see them faster, more horsepower all the time. But you know, it's a slippery slope.
My buddy Brian Kopinski, the late Brian Kopinski, texted me 2 years ago when the Truck Series were at Eldora, and he actually looked it up because he was curious what kind of speeds, and they weren't anywhere close to the midgets or sprint cars were running. But he mentioned that they were running basically the same speeds as the old USAC stock cars were running in 1983.
Yeah,
so there really wasn't much of a progression at all. I can tell you one thing: those engines that they had in those trucks were a hell of a lot better and more powerful than what they were running back in the early '80s. So that was kind of frustrating to see. But like I said, to your average fan, to your average viewer, that's going to be zipping through the channels and see this and seeing, oh yeah, I remember so and so. I remember, you know, Paul Tracy, or oh hey, isn't that Danica talking, or you know who whatever. I think it'll be interesting to see Hélio, Dancing with the Stars. Oh, that's right. He just won the Indy 500. Michael Waltrip, your favorite driver, is out there. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly, how if they're able to draw in the viewers again, because the two football series last year, in 2019, the renewal of the XFL and that other one, they also had pretty good viewership that first weekend, and it dropped like a stone. So yeah, I think week 2 will be very, very important, and how much they are able to get the word out. Superstar racing experience, I would say so far is a success, but the most important thing is how is that going to play out the next few weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And like you, I don't watch any network shows at all, really. The only time I'll watch CBS is when my trash TV, my big brother, is on in the summer. But besides that, unless it's a golf event or something like that, I never even flip that way. And that's the same with NBC, ABC, and Fox too. But it's going to be tough for them to sit there and I don't know, maybe they're running wall-to-wall commercials on CBS and I just never see them. But I think, the social media obviously is going to be a huge way for them to push it and to get it in the race fans' faces and word of mouth. I think the dirt, like I said, I think they were very smart scheduling the dirt second, because they did not look that very fast at Stafford. But I think the dirt aspect will show. I hope it doesn't turn into a demo derby like you. I'm more confident now because we saw NASCAR run dirt at Bristol and it didn't turn into a demo derby. So I'm positive, going into it with a positive outlook, and I think they'll deliver. I think it should be a good race.
Tickets are still available for Knoxville Raceway according to their website, and they were sold out at Stafford Motor Speedway. I think Tony Stewart is your guy. It'll be interesting to see. You're looking at the list here. Ernie Francis Jr. could be maybe. But Marco Andretti
ran well week 1.
Yeah, he did. And Marco Andretti too even made a pass for the lead.
Yep. Yes, he did. So it was good to see. So that's the good thing, and that was what was cool about IROC. Is the drivers across all different disciplines and everything like that. That's fantastic. But and this race, this series is based a whole lot on the old IROC model. Let's not forget, IROC went under eventually as well. So, whether you want to blame that on the people running it or whatever, it still went under. And so, between Everham and Tony, they got to figure it out where they, can keep this thing going.
Yeah, IROC failed because of scheduling. It's so hard to schedule for these new drivers and where they were able to schedule. And the other thing was it became a NASCAR show.
They were running way too big of tracks. The thing that I like about this series, with them hitting tracks like Stafford and Knoxville and all that, yes, they're the most, well-known short tracks around the country. I'm hoping that maybe either next year or the year after they branch out to some of the lesser known tracks, help those guys bring in much needed revenue, have some of these tracks be able to fit 10, 20,000 people in it and stuff like that to keep them alive and keep them going. So, NASCAR, wouldn't be nearly as successful as it is without the Friday night, Saturday night warriors running out there on all the local tracks.
Well, I tell you what, this weekend is Brian Brown will be the ringer for the local track. I saw him race the other night, finished 3rd behind Giovanni Scelzi at Knoxville in the sprint cars. He's a multiple track champion, good guy, runs a really neat operation. Look for him this weekend. Brian Brown is one of those hidden Midwestern gems. Hell of a nice guy. It'll be interesting to see how he does this weekend.
All right. Yeah, I'll choose Tony just because of the dirt experience and all that. I like it. With are the cars attractive to look at? No, but I don't care about that. I just want good racing action once the green flag waves. So, I'll go with Tony just because of the experience, but I do like it that it in this series, it seems like rubbing is racing is kind of encouraged.
Right.
And I look forward to seeing, if there's a rivalry or something that pops up later on down the road this season.
One thing they did also, they're going to work on are the graphics on the cars. I noticed this too last week when we were watching it. But they're going to increase the font size or the size of the names of the drivers, and they're also going to keep the color, whatever color they're running, which I think is a good idea too. Because when you saw the orange, you can kind of go, oh yeah, Tony Stewart, and so they're going to try and keep some uniformity week to week with the color, and then increase the graphics so they can tell who's who, and also with the car number. So I'm glad they did that. I'm always a component of big numbers on cars, so we'll see what happens. Jeff, we appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again hopefully next week.
Good stuff. Enjoy the races this weekend.
It's Jeff Orloski, the Polish Pipe Bomb. I'm Steve Zautke. You've been listening to the Traction Reaction Podcast. Don't forget to like us and subscribe to the Traction Reaction Podcast.